Our next speaker is David Tindell, one of the leading digital marketing coach and authority in Kentucky, USA. Grew up with various severe disabilities from a poor family. He stood out to be a self-made digital entrepreneur with his fascination of technology. He is currently a partner of HubSpot, for Fortinet, CDI, Dell, and other companies as he aims to help businesses grow and prosper these difficult times. It is David's mission to help other entrepreneurs so that they don't have to go through the same hardships he had to go through to succeed. Currently, he owns Tindell Technology, Kentucky's leading digital marketing agency. VirtualPreneurs, we're excited to have as our speaker, David Tindell.
It's great to be here. Thank you for the invite.
Thank you very much, David, for the time and for sparing us your valuable time to really help our local and small businesses out there.
Glad to do it.
So, David, can you share to us a detail about what you do in Kentucky?
Yeah. So what we do is very unique. We're not only a managed service provider of IT products and digital security, but we also offer digital marketing. So we'll do your website, your social media, your email campaign, your video production, and we combine those services together to help businesses grow.
How big is your team right now?
Right now it's me, but I have 10 subcontractors as well.
Well, that's good. It's really a lean company. Now, my question is, how affected are you with the COVID-19 lockdown and quarantines happening also in your area?
Well, it's been good and bad. The good news is we've been able to provide a lot of valuable services to doctors' offices. And the reason is because we're actually certified through Fortinet for network security. We're actually a level 4 certified company through them. So we're one of the trusted companies in the area that can actually go do HIPAA level stuff, things of that nature. So we've been able to go do that. The downside to that is that a lot of businesses are tightening up, so they don't want to expend as much on marketing right now. And so our digital marketing side of it has had to actually become leaner because a lot of businesses are so scared about what's coming after the COVID-19 thing is over with. So they don't know what to do. So it's been a bit of a mixed bag.
In terms of your existing clients, how are they coping up?
Well, right now, actually, they're doing very good. The reason is because we've been blessed by the government stimulus packages that have been released. So they're getting a lot of new funding, like Paycheck Protection Program and the IDL loan and the stimulus money. And the primary customers that I deal with, whenever this started happening, we all sat down and had a very serious conversation of, they're going to lock stuff down. How can we pivot your business so that way you can do your stuff digitally and not lose any revenue? A great thing right now, for example, is I've got a client that does OSHA. He's an OSHA legal expert, and he also offers OSHA classes. Well, prior to COVID-19, it was illegal for him to offer OSHA classes virtually. They required you to be on site and to be able to get your paperwork. Well, now they relax that as long as you use a platform that offers transparency and encryption. So we've set him up on a new platform. And now because of this, now instead of him doing 2 classes a month, now he's going to be able to do 40 classes a month. Wow. Because he doesn't have to leave his house. Wow. See? Yeah.
So that's more revenue then.
Quite a bit. Yeah. And it's all because of this. We had a long talk of how can we pivot your business, because before this he had bought an RV because he would have to travel across the US to give those classes. Well, now he can just stay at home to do them, so you don't have all that travel time and expense. And he's able to advertise digitally, using things like LinkedIn sales, things like that. And yeah, his business is going to grow quite a bit this year because of this.
Wow, interesting. Now, with the COVID-19 happening and you directly communicating with your clients, local
Hmm.
clients.
Hmm.
Uh, what are your insights on how COVID-19 is changing how we do our business?
Oh, well, it's hugely. The main way that I would say is that it's making people understand or learn that most things we do nowadays can be done remotely, and that's good and bad. The bad is you've got national chains like say movie theaters and parks that are closing down because they just can't do it. You know, nobody's there. They don't have anywhere to stay the lights on. The good news is that companies that can pivot, like for example, um, there was a couple of new movies that were supposed to come out to be summer blockbusters.
Yeah,
But what they've done is they released those movies on digital platforms like Disney Plus and Amazon Prime. And now, because people are watching them on those platforms, they're making quite a bit more revenue and they've saved a ton of money in advertising. So it becomes more profitable. So they've learned how to pivot. And that's the main thing is that we've all just had to take a giant step back and go, okay, how can we do what we need to with the tools we have now? And now people are starting to realize that they just didn't understand how far technologies really came. But I mean, you can do amazing things. I get my groceries delivered with this every
yeah,
2 weeks.
me too.
Yeah, I don't have to leave. I don't waste money on impulse buys. They use coupons for me. Why would you not do that? I mean, it's so much cheaper and easier.
Yeah.
And now people are just starting to go, you mean you can do that? Yeah, you can do that. Why would you waste time in the store when you can get all that stuff delivered?
Mhm.
So
So it seems that your success in working with your clients in a time like this is really on how you're able to convince or educate them to pivot.
correct.
Mhm.
Yes, education is important, which education is paramount to my business anyway. I'm a firm believer of if you don't understand what I'm selling you, you can't buy it. And that's because I don't ever want, whenever a customer goes through the sales funnel, they end up becoming, you hope, they really like your product. And then they're going to go tell all their buddies how good your product is. Well, if they don't understand your product, they're not going to be very good at explaining it to somebody else. So what you got to do is make sure on the front end that they know what they're getting. And so that also sets a level of expectation whenever you go to complete the sale. So education is paramount with what we do. I would say that even though we do a lot of deliverables, the bulk of what we sell is education.
The bulk of what you sell is education.
Yeah, I would say that most of all, because it's not like I can sell a customer a CRM, a customer reputation manager, but that's useless until we show them. Like I always tell this story with a CRM. A lot of businesses are reluctant to use a CRM.
Mhm.
And I go,
True.
okay, let's say you've got two sales guys, Bob and George. And they go, yeah. And I'm like, well, George has his clients and Bob has his clients, right? And they go, yeah. And I'm like, what if Bob quits? And they go, what? I said, what if Bob quits? You just lost 50% of your business revenue because you lost one sales guy. And they go, oh. And I'm like, yeah. Now, if you use a CRM and instead of it being Bob's clients and George's clients, now it's the company's clients. So whenever somebody calls in, you can see what Bob or George just said to customer A and pick up the conversation from there. So then
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if Bob or George left
Mhm.
because you can continue going on from there. And now you're not losing any revenue. And that's when they're like, we need to use a CRM. And I'm like, you need to use a CRM. So,
It seems that also because before earlier in this discussion you also
mm,
mentioned for those who are listening right now, the previous discussion you also mentioned the value of likability, and it seems
mm,
that you
mm-hmm.
use education as a form for people to really like you.
Yeah, we definitely use it as a rapport building tool in the sales
Mhm.
process. And also um, we focus our education on their pain points,
Mhm.
and that's a good way to build rapport. But it's like if you've ever read the book How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale
Yeah,
Carnegie.
Dell Carnegie.
Right. One of the things he focuses on is not only listening and likability, but you have to really, the story about how the girl got the donkey in the house where the philosopher couldn't get the donkey in the house. And what she did is she focused on reminding the donkey that there's food this way, because she put some in the donkey's mouth and then led it by her two fingers. The donkey came. And it's the same thing here. Is like we listen to the core values and the core desires, and then we go, all right, let me teach you how you can fix that. And then they go, oh, this person's really listening to us. They really care, and they're providing things that we need. And so now, whenever we get clients, they don't just say, oh, I've got a good client. I mean, I've physically been threatened. They said, if you ever move, we're going to kidnap you and put you in a basement. You're never leaving. And I chuckle, but the reason is because we become so vital to them, because they know that if they ever pick up the phone call and they need us, that we're going to be there for them.
Mhm. Now, we have a lot of local and small business owners who are listening to us right now who are really being challenged by this situation. So,
Mhm.
with COVID-19, what do you think are the actionable strategies that they should do for them to be able to survive this crisis and strive?
Well, the first thing is don't think just because your business is shut down and that you got all this free time to do nothing. That would
Mhm.
probably be the worst thing you could possibly do. I would take this time at a minimum to learn a new skill. I don't care what it is, just make sure that you're learning and bettering yourself. Right now, for example, masterclass.com has a wonderful thing that if you buy a year's membership, you can give a second free code to somebody else. So what you do is you call up another entrepreneur or buddy of yours saying, hey, you wanted to learn something, I wanted to learn something. Let's split the cost down the middle. And now we both got a year's worth of masterclass. You can do things like that. Um, Also, too, you have to look at, honestly, with your small business, you have to step back and go, how can I deliver this without physically being next to a person? Is there any way I can deliver this product or service without me being there? Like, for example, I have a doctor's visit in a week. It's going to be my first virtual doctor's visit because they
Hmm.
finally relaxed things. We have an app, it syncs all my doctors together. And
Mhm.
finally, they realized, hey, we don't need a bunch of people in the office. We can do this digitally through the app. And so I guarantee from here on out, I won't have in person visits unless I have to. It'll all be
Mhm.
done virtually. Lawyers, courts, they're all using virtual technology now because they realized they didn't have to have people there. Like I mentioned in the last video, if you've got some sort of labor service, now would be a great time to looking at adjusting your pricing structure and using a tool like TeamViewer AR, which is augmented reality. So, like for example, if somebody calls up your business, like let's say you're a plumber, and they call up and they say, "Man, I've got this problem with my sink. I don't know what to do." Well, you go, "Great. Normally I charge $100 an hour, but I'll charge you $50 an hour. You download this, and we'll use this, and I'll teach you how to fix your sink." And so you don't have to leave your office or your house. You're making revenue, and they're going to go around and tell everybody what a great help you were by being able to educate them through that. And so if they've got more complex problems, they'll call you again. And also too, like let's say let's say once this COVID-19 ends and things do go back to normal, man, let's say you're a master electrician and you've got journeymen out there. You should be using something like the TeamViewer AR, so that way you can service more people
Mhm.
at once. You can do it remotely from your office or home. If you've got deliverables, like I don't know, like let's say you had a gift shop or knickknack store, learn to use things like Facebook Marketplace.
Mhm.
It's a great way to sell locally. Learn to sell on eBay. If you can figure out how to get your products and do drop shipping through like a Shopify store, instead of actually having to have product in your store, you need to be figuring out how to do that. That's one of the things too with a lot of these brick and mortars. I'm sorry, a lot of them are probably just not going to survive this, and it's because not only were brick and mortars dying before this, but people are realizing the convenience and ease of use of buying things digitally, and this situation has made that very relevant for everybody. And while I'm sure whenever you opened up your business, you may not have had the idea of filling boxes up, taking them to the UPS store, and having them shipped. But that may be where your business needs to go after this, because you're just going to have to pivot and go. Unless you're a major retailer like Walmart or somebody like that that has such a large variety of products, you're going to have to learn to pivot to go, is there any way I can do my service or product remotely or digitally?
True, true, true. Now, uh, there are a lot of business owners who are really stuck in their homes doing brick and mortar businesses, and they are really stuck in their homes. They can't do anything aside from learning from master class one or two. What are the other things that you can suggest to them that they should do to be more productive this time?
Well, one of the first things I would do if I had free time as a business owner is how many businesses really out there have mapped out their buyer's journey? Do they really understand and know what gets a customer from a want, need, or desire to coming into their store and making a purchase? And you really need to understand the nuts and bolts of what they go from and to go buy a product. A really great example is since we do digital marketing, when I come into a business, I typically ask them, I'm like, okay, before we get started, what are you doing already? And they'll typically look at me and go, well, goodness, we're already doing TV and billboard and newspapers and magazines and mail order. And I look at them and I go, how do you know which one's actually making you sales? Are you tracking any of this? And they go, well, no. And I'm like, then how much do you know how much money you're wasting on ineffective marketing? And that's when they're like, well, I didn't think about that. I'm like, how much is your marketing budget per month? Well, we spend X. I'm like, you should be spending a tenth of that. There's no way that you should be blowing that much money. And that's a way that businesses can run leaner is that they should understand, like, for example, great example here is where I live. Most of the people that read the newspaper here are elderly. And because most of younger generation is digital. So if it's mostly elderly people that read the newspaper and you're selling a product that appeals to younger kids, probably don't want to run a newspaper ad. Or, for example, even better, billboards typically only work if you're selling gas, you have a place to stay, or it's a tourist attraction,
Or
or
retail.
food. Right. It's an emergency need. So, like, for example, something I typically don't recommend, like I had a bank call up and they said, hey, we want to do a digital billboard ad for our bank. I'm like, I have never in my experience heard anybody opening up a business account because they saw a billboard with a bank on
Billboard,
it.
yeah, correct.
Yeah, it just never happens. So you have to tell them, like, okay, maybe you should refocus your efforts and look at other ways to appeal to them instead of wasting money. So
Yeah, I think it's also gratifying to know that consultants like you are really helping people to really divert their attention to what really matters for buyers.
yes, yeah, the worst thing that they can do right now is sit there and feel sorry for themselves and hope that this government bailout money will fix
Save them.
everything
Yeah.
because it's not. This is a band-aid. Things are going to pivot really hard, really fast over the next couple months, and either you can take advantage of the change and grow, or your business is going to fail.
You're one of the first speakers to really focus on buyer's journey. So can you expound a little bit about it so that our
Yeah.
listeners can.
So the way it works is you have what's called a buyer's journey, and there's 4 stages. So there's the awareness stage. That's where the customer has a want, need, or desire. So let's just make a fictitious widget. Let's say I'm selling a beverage. Okay. So they're going through their day and they're thirsty.
Mhm.
Then they see an ad for a beverage. May not be my beverage. They just see a beverage. And they go, oh, well, I guess I'm thirsty. So then what they'll do is they'll look at the marketing and then they'll go through what's called the decision phase. So that's where they start looking at different options. Well, I'm sorry, I missed one. It's consideration phase, where they start going through and they're looking at different options, the benefits of one. Like I may like citrus drinks over dark drinks or
Right, right.
whatever, and I'll go, okay. And then they go to the actual decision phase and they go, okay, I've decided I'm going to make a purchase. I like this guy's widget, this drink. So I'm
Mhm.
going to buy this product. Now, after they take the drink, you hope that they're so happy with buying your widget, they go into what's called the fourth stage. And that's where they become an evangelist or a speaker for your product company. So they become walking billboards and advertisers for your company, which is the cheapest way to get advertising because happy customers, not only are they cheaper to make money off of, but they are so cheap with acquiring new customers. Because if you've got a happy customer and he goes and tells three of his buddies, you didn't pay any marketing at all for that, but you just got four customers for the price of one.
So literally, how many hours can it take for them to really be able to draft their own buyer journey for their businesses?
Well, there are tools out there to do it. It doesn't really have to be on your own. So the first thing I would do is look up for a buyer's journey template. There are several out there. Second thing is how to do user research or how to do buyer research. Then there's also other free tools out there. Like, for example, I brought up inbound marketing. One of the greatest things I recommend is called the HubSpot Academy.
Yeah,
HubSpot
me too. I
Academy
love
is
it.
free. Yeah, it is almost completely free. When I say almost, I mean they offer two or three classes for partners, but not much. You can get the bulk of what you need from the free academy. I would recommend going through the inbound course by itself because they really focus on what the buyer's journey is, how to find out what that is, how to make a decisions based on their journey. So, like for example, let's say you're writing a blog. 80% of all articles that you write for a blog should be for the awareness phase.
Correct.
Okay, right. And the big reason is here's a great example of why you have to know the customer journey. Let's say you go into an electronics store and you want to buy a laptop. Everybody I know gets irritated when a customer comes or an employee comes right up to him and goes, Jim, I work at Best Buy or Office Depot or whatever. Let me harass you the whole time you're in the store to buy a product.
Me
Nobody
too.
likes that.
Yeah, I really hate that.
Yeah, right. And the reason is you're not in the buyer in that step. You're not in the decision step. You're not
Mm.
ready for a salesman. What you want to do is you want to go through and look through. And so, like, let's take a buyer's journey through like a box store like that. So you're going to walk through and you're like looking around and, oh, hey, I see laptops. And then okay, so now you're in the awareness phase. You know you want a laptop. So then you start looking at different laptops. You see the description, you start playing with the consideration phase. Now you got it down to one or two, but you're not really sure. Then you go get the annoying salesman to come back here, and then you ask him, hey, what's your thoughts on these two laptops? And then he gives you the information and supplies it and all that stuff. And then you make your decision where you actually buy one. And then you take it home and you use it, and then you're so happy about it. So whenever your friend calls you up and says, hey, man, I was thinking about getting a laptop. Well, let me tell you about the laptop I bought. And there you go. There's another sale.
Good one. These are the topic that we really had right now is really good,
Mm,
considering that these are the things, basic things that entrepreneurs should have done before they have started a business at some point.
I agree. Yeah.
So thank
Most
you
people
very much,
don't.
David, for the insightful ideas, and I hope the priceless tips that you have shared today can help all our listeners locals that go through these hard times. Your closing message to all of our local and small businesses out there.
Glad to do it. And if you have any questions or need any help, please feel free to reach out to my business, and we'll be glad to answer any questions you got.
So for those who are watching this video, just click on the links below because we will leave all of the information on how you can get in touch with David.
That's
Okay?
great. Look forward to it.
Thank you very much,
Stay healthy
David.
and stay safe.
Virtualpreneurs, live the great life.